Captivating Kibber.
Kibber is a small, quiet hamlet in the midst of gigantic mountains and scenic valleys in Spiti, Himachal Pradesh. The best way to reach it is by road in 3 to 4 days from Chandigarh, halting at night in Shimla, Rampur, and Kaza to gradually acclimatize to the altitude. Indeed, one has to learn to be patient to reach Kibber. Upon reaching it, you are immediately absorbed into its sleepy quietness and serenity, like a place straight from a fairy tale. It may initially seem lifeless to some, but if you look around, there is life aplenty. On my first trip to Kibber in 2019, I went for a walk one day and noticed a peculiar sound coming from the foothills of the gigantic Mount Kanamo. It appeared to come from a pair of fast flying, white bellied, medium sized pigeon like birds. Upon inquiry, I found out that they were chalong or the Tibetan sand grouse. The birds were engrossed in sunbathing, sunbasking, drinking water, and occasionally pecking at food on the ground. I watched them almost every day for the next 10 days till they completed their daily ritual, flying in with a peculiar sound from Kanamo, taking a semicircular turn and landing on the ridge line, picking food and flying to the plains of Chamoling and then to the stream near my tent. In another instance, a small bird landed near the stream in front of my tent. It hopped around and was looking for food. To my astonishment, it was a horned lark. Excited by my very first sighting of this bird, I went out for a walk the next day with binoculars and cameras, hoping to get fortunate with another sighting. At some point, I noticed a movement nearby. I hurriedly took out my camera and started clicking pictures. Upon zooming in, I was amazed to find that it was a female horned lark with an insect tightly held in her beak. She was alert and hopped around till she reached a spot near a couple of rocks. She looked up to glare at me and stood like a statue for a few seconds. I watched her with fascination, and after around 15 minutes, I saw endearing and graceful big beaks emerging from the subterranean treasure chest. The female lark started feeding them. The mother lark had brought food for her two chicks. The scene was so immensely engrossing that I had forgotten that I had a camera in my hand. I suddenly realized that I should capture this moment and was not disappointed. The mother lark cooperated, feeding her chicks for a good 5 minutes and posing for me at the same time. My second visit to Kibber was in 2020. Word had gotten around that an elusive snow leopard was nearby, so some colleagues and I decided to look for it. It was a difficult walk on a downward slope with knee deep snow. When we finally reached the edge of a cliff, I stood for a while and took a deep breath to regain my senses. Slowly, I realized that there was snow inside my shoes. My socks were wet and my feet had turned blue. Nevertheless, I stood for 10 minutes looking hard at the rocks on the cliffs across, trying to spot the snow leopard. After my eyes had adjusted to the landscape, I located not only an adult snow leopard, but also three cubs with her, all comfortably napping together on the edge of a dangerous cliff. I soaked in the blissful moment and stood silently for about half an hour, contemplating on life and wildlife. I then decided to head back and put my feet near a fire to warm them up. Just as I turned to go back, a village guide signaled me to stand still and be quiet. There was more in store. An ibex herd emerged from the opposite side of the slope we were standing on. They watched us in their zen mode and then moved closer sideways towards the edge of the cliff. One of them sat right on the edge, just 15 feet away from us. Someone had surely informed the ibex about the snow leopard sighting. Was it having a telepathic conversation with the snow leopard across the cliff? Or challenging the snow leopard by turning its catch me if you can mode on? This was a scene I was immensely lucky to witness and am unlikely to ever see again. Later on, after I had gone back indoors, conversations over tea brought to light the fact that the wildlife, mostly the ibex and blue sheep, have become comfortable with human presence over the years, as humans have stopped hunting them due to various conservation schemes and other economic opportunities. We continued our discussions till the sunlight faded, until the sky gradually turned into a black canvas full of stars and constellations glittering joyously. During dinner, I asked a local how so many animals and birds are easily visible in this place, and wasn't it just magical? He replied, "We don't hurt the animals like in earlier days, not even if they kill our livestock. The magic of Kibber lies in its people, in its wildlife, in the land, and in the mountains."